Cryptocurrencies have been going pretty crazy over the past couple of weeks, and I know it's very easy to get distracted with so much going on. I mean, Bitcoin right now, it's not at 100,000 anymore. It's back to like what, $92,000 right now, and a lot of these coins are not at the heights which they were at last week. And a question I get quite often is, should you be worried? Should you be panicking? Should you be buying the freaking dip? Ladies, because the only people wondering that are probably ladies, right? How could you be worried? Regardless, all right, you ladies out there, gentlemen out there, if you're worried, let me rephrase one more thing, right? Because I get this hundreds of times a day, hundreds. Let's recoup a little bit. Bull market, how long? Well, from now, most likely, right? Most likely another 9 or so months. That means mostly upwards for Bitcoin. Altcoins will go up a smaller portion of that with crazier margins. However, throughout the entire, let's say 9-12 months, we do expect altcoins to go up. But for a portion, Bitcoin would probably still have been better. Expectation for Bitcoin, $250,000. Expectation for Ethereum, I'm going to say $12,000. Solana, $1,000. BNB don't really have a target. This one is so volatile and will depend a lot on Binance's position in the next run, because the BNB, the Binance Smart Chain, hasn't really been as exciting recently. But just like Base, it could bring up a quick resurgence. So I'm leaving that one open, but let's just say a 5x would not be out of proportion. But my honest target is more along the lines of $2,000 a BNB. For XRP, my honest target is a minimum $10. Honest truth, I do believe if this cycle things start going, it could be that XRP actually ends up at what, $16, something crazy like that. Most people, whenever I say that, think I'm crazy, but this is just my honest thoughts on the matter. Like I said, I personally think that many people are just underestimating how crazy a bull market can get, because the 2021 bull run was quite tame. And to put that into perspective, if I look back at 2017, because I've been making these videos for a long time, right? And I look at the expectations, they were freaking low. When Bitcoin was trading at $2,000, nowhere in my right mind would I have expected Bitcoin to really break 10. I was thinking maybe, but again, think back of Bitcoin at $600. It was very far away. It's like, oh, if we're lucky, it's gonna double or maybe triple. But then things went really, really fast, and all of a sudden you keep putting your targets higher. Maybe we can breach $10,000, but then all of a sudden it kept going all the way towards 20. Realize that the next cycle up, again, we went from 19 point something thousand all the way towards 70. Can you understand how much of an increase that is? And people keep saying, well, the increases are going to deteriorate over time. But what if this time around, though, it's quite a different, because the new influx of all this capital? I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to increase by a crazier fold than previous times. I still think maybe like a 3x or so is suitable of the all-time high, but perhaps slightly higher though, like I just said, because of the new institutional interest. So maybe a 4x, nothing too crazy in comparison to what we saw last time. However, it doesn't necessarily have to be deteriorating or marginally basically worse results. I do believe we can have some outliers, like specifically this run. Before, in most countries, it is regulated. Before, most countries have added it to their reserves. Before, and this is again very important to realize, most major companies have put their money inside of it or stored their wealth in it. This might be that time, the run, where a lot of this is going to start. And so exponentially, we'll be seeing a lot of inflows here, which again will deteriorate over the next few years probably. But for that reason, I do believe this run might be bigger than previous ones. And very, very important to note here, some of these coins like XRP didn't really go on a crazy run back in 2021, but also perhaps the run was less severe because of the whole COVID situation at the time. This time around, with so many more people interested in crypto, as we've seen from the search results, maybe this is going to be our biggest run yet, not only in terms of just going 2x or 3x from the all-time high, but really just putting up some crazier multipliers from whatever we thought was possible. Again, I always say, your bear targets, right? Your bear market targets that you put for the all-time high are probably going to be way too low. And once the bull run is going on like crazy, your targets are probably way too high. Right now, though, the bull market is starting, sure, but most altcoins haven't even broken all-time high yet. The only problem is, once XRP, for example, goes to $10, a lot of people will be like, well, you know what? It's probably going to go to 50. It's going to go to 70, because it just did like if it goes to $10 and the price is like 30 cents for all eternity just now, that's a 30x. So the moment we're at $10, people think again of like a 30x. So, if it already went from 30 cents to 10, it could probably go to 100. It could probably go to 300. But then again, as a counter, most people didn't think Cardano would go back to $1, that XRP would go back to $1, and here we are, right? Stellar. A lot of people gave up when it didn't go on a crazy run when XRP and ADA did. And look at it, right? It was the best performer, still I think is, over the entire month. I mean, we have Peanut, which got a crazy Binance listing, and some coins will always be at the top that got some preferential treatment. But generally, let's see here. Over on the week, XLM is by far the winner right now, again, against most people's expectations. Anyway, getting back to the chopping block, many of these coins, man, will start a super cycle of sorts, but it's hard to convince. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not here to convince you of anything, actually. I'm trying to say now it's hard to convince people that, but that's not my goal here at all. I think the thing I'm trying to do here is portray my vision, what I expect for these things to happen, because we've been right time after time after time again. And whenever I start a stream saying, hey, look at what we expected to happen, it just happened, people are like, should I buy in now? And I keep saying, well, you should have done that when we were talking about buying in, not when we were thinking about perhaps selling. So to run it back, what are we thinking now? We're thinking now that things are back down what? XRP is, let's quickly check it, take a look. XRP is down how much from its high point just now? If we take a little bit of a look, XRP went down roughly 22%. Right now is down 13-14% from its high point. Cardano went down roughly the same, about you can't see perfectly, but just believe me when I say about 22% or so in that time frame. Again, has bounced off of where I said this would be a nice place to start buying ADA, which is roughly, oh sorry, in this case XRP. I'm mixing two things up here. I wanted to say XRP actually bounced a couple of times off of where I thought it would be a good area to buy. Cardano ADA was in the tab next to it, you naughty, and it went down roughly 25% or so, which again was slightly below where I expected to go. I'm not going to be dishonest with you here, because I kind of expected ADA to probably bounce at roughly, I still expected it to go below the dollar mark, but I kind of expected to be at these previous bottoms, so roughly I'm going to say 94 cents or so. We went significantly down below that, but if you just had some cojones, you know, some freaking balls, and you bought the freaking dip, you could have either gotten lucky and you were able to buy at this previous top at roughly, for example, 87, if you had your target slightly above and you were trying to buy that top. But if you didn't, even right here, right, if you were buying within this zone and you placed your first buy, as an example, right there, you place your first buy. As long as you were making sure to buy yourself on the way back down, and you had another buy lined up for what? Let's say 8% down, something like that, or 5% down even, you know, but let's just say 5% down and maybe another 5% down or a few percent down. You could have had your average price significantly lowered, maybe 92 cents, for example, and then as of that point, you could be up now. Again, that's why I keep saying I'm trading over on Blowfin, I'm trading over on Bybit. These platforms are trading all the time. We've got a competition right now going on. We're doing pretty good, you know, below 30th place. Right now, already winning $2,100 for the team. And there's also some pretty good signing bonuses. The reason I keep talking about this partially is also because this, in bull markets, is one of the easiest ways to make loads. Not financial advice, but mostly if you just average your way down, you gotta have enough money for margin. If you only buy once with crazy leverage and it starts crashing, you might get wrecked. Again, I'm not doing it perfectly here to show you, but that's also because the account size is too little, where I kind of thought it didn't matter. That was more to prove a point. But generally speaking, these lines are here to kind of explain stories, right? I said, man, maybe you buy once, for example, right there. But then you see, hey, the price starts falling down. So you end up buying right there. You see the price falls down more, so you end up buying right there. Now, because you kept on buying, your average price might be, for example, at this blue line, like right there, $1.36. So even though it went below again, maybe you decided to buy again, double down. Maybe you didn't. It's okay. Because now if you waited, right? Let's say that was your last buy. Now as you waited, your average price is $1.36 because you last bought at $1.28. Now all of a sudden, after some waiting, the price is back up a few percent. And instead of being at a loss of what? Let's just say at a loss of 8% or so, you'd actually be up significantly at roughly 2, 3, 4%. So what's the difference there? It's confidence. It's confidence that we will rebound. It's confidence that this is not the lowest will ever, not the highest will ever go. So all you need is a long enough breath. On this trade, for example, you can see my liquidation is 94 cents. I always say keep it low. I said before, keep it at like 40 cents, but even now below $1 is like a good start. If it's too high, it's fine, but you have to be willing to add more money to the trade, because if it's going to get liquidated at, you know, $1.29, it's too close, because the prices are so volatile recently that one big shake, like we're seeing now in Bitcoin, can cause you to get wrecked. You don't want that. And I know most people know this because I'm seeing it in the numbers, but some people don't. I still see some comments saying, Dusty, I got liquidated. Not what I want to see. If you did, Foul, right? Big mistake, but you'll learn from it. A lot of people have it the first few times. Man, you don't want to know the amount of times I got my accounts wrecked. You learn from it, but it's mostly because people want things too fast. Again, the market is so freaking great. It's so incredibly hard to lose if you're patient enough and you have a good enough roll, meaning you don't put too much into one trade so you can keep trading. Or if you're just holding on, you keep thinking about where your targets are at and don't get too bitchy, don't get too whiny to sell at $1 for XRP. Man, if you've been waiting all these years to sell at $1 XRP and be done, I don't know, man. Again, I sold some of my position at $1.40 and I said, man, if you want, you can buy back in cheaper, which in hindsight, people in my stream say, Dusty, never sell at $1.40. I said, man, at $1.40 is my target. I should sell everything and buy back cheaper. And if it doesn't get cheaper, then I should wait for another good opportunity at another dip with my position, not my full portfolio. And if I just sold, like I said, I would have missed the $1.62. But I could have bought back in at like $1.28. So it's just a 50-50, right? In that case, I could have sold for higher, but afterwards, I could have basically bought for cheaper. I could have had that the perfect trade of selling at $1.62 and buying back at $1.28. But nobody's perfect, and you don't aim to be. All we aim for is just some juicy freaking profits, which over time will certainly come, at least in my opinion. Now, right now, as of this point, the chart is not looking that amazing. If we're just taking an objective look at it, we're trending downwards. But it seems something very interesting is going to be happening over the next few days here. Or I'm going to say the next day, yeah, perhaps the next 24 hours, perhaps the next 2 or 3 days, though, depending on how we fare. I think this will mostly be decided by Bitcoin, though. If Bitcoin decides to break up again, just today hit 95,000 and right back to like 91 point something or 90.9 maybe. If Bitcoin decides to come back up again, XRP and a lot of our coins will probably rejoice as well. If Bitcoin decides to break down, most likely XRP will also face the same fate. And again, it is interesting right now that many of the alts are still holding strong while Bitcoin is getting slashed, which shows confidence. But some others have been warning me that this might mean that Bitcoin today had the correction of a few percent, and then tomorrow alts. The fact that many of them are up like 10, 15% is making me doubt that. But again, you've got the strategy locked in, right? I'm here for the next few months, not here for the next few days. I'm ready for whatever this market can throw at me because I know if I look back at previous markets, it pays to be strong. It pays to hold on for a longer while. And it doesn't pay to hold on to the end of time, but at least a few more months. And yeah, I'll talk about my exit strategy soon. Just stick around, make sure you press that like button if you enjoyed it, and put the notification button on so you never miss out on any new uploads.